Would you believe that this little ceramic block can help provide clean water to a family for an entire year? We'll tell you more about it and how one group is using it to save souls, next on this episode of Better Life Today. Hello and welcome to this episode of Better Life Today. Our topic today is missions, and with me is Jim Reynolds with Ultimate Mission. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
My understanding is you have a special place in your heart for India.
Yes.
How long have you been in India?
Well, I've been going to India for since 2011. So I've been there 9 times so far.
9 times, so you've been pretty busy. And as we were getting ready for the show, you told me a story that kind of introduces what brought you to India.
Well, we started going to India. One of our projects was to train Bible workers to do medical missionary work. And so we went in, we trained the Bibles to do the medical missionary work, and then they went out and they started training their wives. So we went back home after doing the training. They went and they took the book that we gave them called Where There Is No Doctor. They took it home and they started teaching their wives what they had been taught by us. So the wives, we got these stories of the wives going out and doing medical missionary work all on their own without getting paid.
So you hadn't engaged with the wives at all?
Hadn't engaged at all. One story we heard is this pastor and his wife was driving back on their motorcycle from an engagement they were in to coming home, and it was dark and it was raining, and up ahead of them was a group of people just standing alongside of the road. So they decided they would pull over and see what was going on. So they pull over and there's a woman in labor on the side of the road. Nobody knew what to do. Everybody was kind of freaking out. And so the wife had read the chapter in the book about delivering a baby. And so she took that woman off to the side away from all the men, and she delivered a baby right there in the mud and the dirt and the rain, all by herself. So a couple weeks later, the Bible worker and the wife go back to that village, back to that group of people to find out how this baby was and if the baby was still okay and if the mother was still okay. Everybody was okay. So they started doing Bible studies with those people. And right now there's a church that meets every Sabbath in that village because of that. And because of that, we started realizing, okay, we went there to train men and we went there to do this medical missionary work, but training the men may not have been the right path. And we started looking at training women. And what we found out since then, culturally and spiritually with training women, has just been amazing.
I love stories that show how God works. You know, we see roadblocks, we see something we're doing that may or may not be effective, and all of a sudden he injects a plan that comes out of left field.
Yeah, here you go.
And it changes everything. Mm-hmm. So one of the other things, one of the issues, I was actually in India in 2003. And while I was there, I noticed, well, it wasn't even just noticing, I was told, don't drink the water. Mm-hmm. Don't drink soda because it's made with the water. And that's become one of your missions as well.
Yeah, water is a big thing in India. Over 3,000 children die every single day in India under the age of 5. And World Health Organization says if we can teach them to drink clean water and wash their hands, we can cut that number in half. So yeah, water is huge. It's one of the biggest bangs for the buck that you can get.
Okay, and my understanding is that the North American division heard about this and they decided to incorporate this into a mission project in 2018. Can you share with me about that?
Well, yes, they heard about one of the tools that we used.
And that was the Mahdi drop.
The Mahdi drop.
Earlier.
Yes, so Mahdi drop, Mahdi means water in the South African language, so basically a water drop. So what this water drop or Mahdi drop will do is it will keep a family of 5 in clean water for an entire year.
An entire year?
Just this
with
one,
that.
just with this. And so it was developed out of the University of Virginia. We were taking these over by the thousands to India. And the North American division seen what we were doing, and they said this would be a great project for the VBS program, or for the Vacation Bible School program. And so we started working with them, and they made videos of us, and they put it in all the Vacation Bible School projects across North America. And these kids did such an incredible job raising money for this. Matter of fact, I made a video on this when I was in India, and so I'd like to show you that video.
Let's go ahead and watch that video now.
I want to thank all the children that collected money for Vacation Bible School this year for Mighty Drops for India. It is amazing what you guys were able to do. Do you know that you collected over $27,000? $27,000. It averages $1 per person per year. So what you did is you made it possible for 27,000 people to have clean water for 1 year. So the beautiful part about having the Mighty Drop, this little 2-ounce ceramic tablet that you raise money for, is this is a tool that our ladies use to go to houses and introduce themselves to people that don't know them. So they can knock on the door and say, here, I have a present for you, and I would like to talk to you and help you with your health. There will be so many children in India that are going to have better health because of you, because of what you did. You do not have to be an adult, a full-grown person to be a missionary. You can be a child, you can be a young person, you can be just who you are and tell people about Jesus and make an impact on people's lives. And I want to tell you this, don't stop now. You have started something that's very, very unique. You have made a huge difference in a country that has very, very bad water. Anytime you get the chance to let somebody know who Jesus is, anytime you get a chance to help somebody, don't think I'm too little, I'm too small, because you're not. Look what you did. It's amazing, and I want to thank you. You have done something incredible here in India.
Thank you.
What a great video. I love the smiles on those children's faces. It is just wonderful how God can use the health message, in this case, clean water, to reach into the communities like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And God, you know, I'm just kind of following this journey. Here, you went there to teach Bible workers, medical missionary work. And then you were led to connect with the women. What is it that you found made women so effective?
Oh man, there's several things. We didn't even realize everything that makes such a huge difference when we train women. Culturally, if you want to help the children, of course the women carry the water, the women prepare the food. The women are the ones that are pregnant with the babies. Sure. And so if you want to have an effect of children under the age of 5, you got to go to the women. Now, when we first went to India, the other thing we did besides train Bible workers is that we did child evaluations, and we found that 60% of the children were malnourished. Now, one of the reasons our experts said that is because any nourishment they were getting was going to fight off disease from the filthy environment they were in. So women are the one that clean the children, and if you want to connect with a woman in India, because of the culture, it's best to connect to them through another woman. Because you wouldn't want a man to go up and tell a woman how to breastfeed, or a woman how to, that she needs to clean her house, or how to cook something, or what she needs to do with water. But women can connect to women that is in amazing ways. See, there is a lot of information that we have on how to keep children healthy, as far as washing their hands, drinking clean water, the health diet that we all know is with a vegetable, plant-based health diet. But how do you get this information to the women? How do you pass those cultural barriers, those gender barriers? And so you're able to, the women are the perfect vehicle in which to bring this information to save children to another woman. So what I like to say is, what Ultimate Mission does is we train women to teach mothers to keep their babies alive.
So how do you do that, though? Because we talked about language barriers, we talked about gender barriers. How are you able to communicate to these women workers
So
and train them.
What we do is we take teams from the U.S. over to India, medical teams. And some of the people on our medical teams are women.
Sure.
And the other thing that we do is we work through the Women's Ministries program in India. So one of the women's ministries directors for a union is actually, she retired and she's one of our managers. And she has a master's in biology. We have another woman that works for us in northern India who has a master's in nursing. And so we have these women that work for us, and then we have women from America that go over. And so we do use men, of course, when we do our training, but we try as much as we can to use women to train women.
And what kind of changes have you noticed in the women? I would think when you get this kind of training, when you start to feel value that you're being used to enrich others, how is that impacting the women?
Oh, that's one of the most incredible things, because in India, women a lot of times are treated like property.
Yes.
But when I ask these girls, and I'll sit down with them at lunch, I call them girls, and I don't mean to, but kind of a term of endearment to me. When I ask these ladies how they're being treated now that they're health workers in the village, their faces just light up. I mean, they light up because they're being treated with respect.
Yes.
They're being treated with dignity. You know, I was reading a book, and Melinda Gates does a lot of work in India, and she has a story about a woman that is kept in the back room of her mother-in-law's house. And the mother-in-law would not let her into the front room until she got a job. And once she got a job, she was able to buy a bicycle for her son. That gave her value, and now she was allowed into the house. So this is the culture that we're working with here. And these women, once they have a job, and once they get a little money that they can add to the family income, boom, I mean, their future just opens up. And it opens up the future for the women around them as well.
Well, I would think it changes the whole village.
Oh, it does. I mean, once you if you want to make the biggest effect on a village, you start training women. You start educating women. When you educate women, the whole society is lifted. I mean, it is incredible what's done.
Ultimate Mission is doing a great work for us, for the church in India, and changing lives, changing whole villages. So I'm looking forward to hearing some more stories from you as we continue. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Better Life Broadcasting is a viewer-supported Christian media ministry that offers streaming programming via apps on various devices. Please visit blbn.org to support Better Life or to get more information. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back to Better Life Today. My guest today is Jim Reynolds, and we've been in India. And before the break, we were talking about the impact that your ministry is having on villages, and how by virtue of training women, it's changing whole communities. And I'd like to hear a little bit more. I'd like to hear, first of all, more about how women are being impacted and children are being impacted. But you were sharing with me another story you had about a woman that was meeting somebody else's needs.
Yeah, we have 12 women in India who are midwives, and they've been trained midwives. They can actually make more money doing that, but their problem is that they're forced to work every single Sabbath when they're working for the government as midwives. So they work for us for a lot less money. But you know what? They're missionaries. This is what they want to do. And so one of our midwives, she had a lady call her because the contractions were starting. She was about ready to have the baby. The midwife went there and found that the baby was in the wrong direction. It was coming out going to be a breech. And so she sent the lady to the hospital.
Sure.
The lady went to the hospital, and the hospital asked the lady, "Do you have any money?" The lady says, "I don't have any money." They said, "Well, then you're going to have to go to a different hospital."
So in India, at least at some hospitals, if you don't have any money, you don't get treatment.
Yeah, there's the government hospitals and the government plans, but really you better have some money if you want anything special. And so this lady goes back home and she calls our lady again. She says, "Well, they sent me home." She said, "Well, go to the other hospital." So the lady went to the second hospital, and that hospital asked her again. They said, "This is going to be a complicated birth. Are you going to be able to pay us money?" She said, "No." So they sent her back home. So now she calls our midwife, and our midwife is like, "Oh, what do I do?" And she came over to the house, and the water broke, and the contractions were getting closer and closer together. They had the baby right there. I mean, and so the midwife had to deliver the baby. What would have happened if the midwife hadn't have been there? What would have happened if our ladies weren't there? There's a lot of things that happen like this over and over where for one reason or another, these people can't get to the doctor, can't get to the hospital, don't have the money to pay for the treatments, and our ladies are really making a difference in their lives.
Well, it sounds like it, because at least in this situation, if I'm hearing you right, before she went to the hospital, she called the midwife. So they're communicating, they have a standing, these ladies have a standing in the villages where people know, if I need help, I know who to call.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about all of this. We have something with the Adventist Church, we have something that the Gates Foundation or some of these other bigger organizations would love to have. You see, what we have is a vehicle, like I was saying before, in which to get information to people, in which to help people. And we have a bunch of women who have this evangelism, this missionary spirit. And we also in the Adventist Church have this culture of health.
Yes.
So, and we have Adventist churches all over. What happens in these villages is that they know that if there's somebody sick, if there's a problem, they send somebody to the Adventist church to go get the pastor's wife, and the pastor's wife can help them. And it's amazing, and we've been helping stroke victims. I have whole stories about stroke victims and how that has come about. That's a whole nother amazing story. But we've helped a lot of people get to the hospital in time to get the medication so they don't become paralyzed after a stroke.
Right.
And so just our ladies being there and doing the trainings, it's been amazing.
It sure sounds like it. Now, going back to that video, I saw these wonderful smiles on the children. Tell me how the ministry is impacting the children.
Well, the children, of course, a lot of times the women, when they have children, the babies, they won't start off breastfeeding right away. Sometimes they have some of the medicine men tell them to wait 3 days before they should breastfeed. Sometimes they start giving cows milk and different things. And so because a woman should actually breastfeed exclusively for the first 6 months. And so our ladies are helping right after the children are born to be able to get these babies breastfed and keep them clean. And that's the other thing. Here's the thing in India, there's not many bathrooms, right? And so people are going to the bathroom everywhere. And children are children. Children play in the dirt. And here's another thing in India, and you've been there, so you know, how do they eat in India?
They eat with their hands.
They eat with their hands. So what you now have a perfect storm. Right. You have people going to the bathroom everywhere. You have open range with chickens and cows and everything else and all this icky stuff all over the place. And you have kids playing in the dirt and then eating with their fingers.
Right.
And so it's the perfect storm. I was in one village where a woman told me that last year during the rainy season, she did not have one case of dysentery. And that's huge.
Yes.
I mean, that is huge because so many kids are dying simply because they have diarrhea. I mean, it's amazing. In the 21st century, we have children dying because they have diarrhea.
Right.
But not one child in that village that year had diarrhea. So it's what it's doing for the kids is amazing. And then we're also doing for young girls, we've been taking over these kits. And because young girls, when they start to come into their age and come into puberty, start having their menstrual cycles, sometimes they quit going to school because they're embarrassed about it and they don't have the equipment to take care of it. And so we've been taking over some kits that are washable, that give them the ability to continue to go to school without embarrassment. Yeah. So children are, helping the women helps the children.
Right. And it just sounds like, one village at a time, the country can be transformed.
Yeah.
And so this is what you're doing in India. Are you doing any mission projects, or are you working in any other countries?
Well, last year we started working in the Philippines. And so the Philippines is a really exciting project right now because in India, we stipend the women and pay them to work monthly. In the Philippines, we've got a little different model going. What we do there is we have volunteers. So we had a women's ministries leader called Nelia Gerardo, and she was going to churches and she would set up these, what they call care groups. So we would supply the medical equipment, we would supply the training, and then these care groups would go out and do missionary work. And so Nelia she's got a degree in nursing, and she also has a master's in public health. So this year, she told me, she goes, Jim, sir, I am going to have to retire because it's time for me to retire. I said, Nelia, do you want to keep working? She said, yes. I says, well, what if we paid your salary? And so what we're doing is we split Nelia's salary with the Southern Luzon Conference, and Nelia now works for us full time. And it's amazing what's going on. I get picture after picture of these care groups. We have over 200 people in the Philippines now that are going out and going into villages and rural places and doing medical missionary work. And it's kind of like something that's just caught on and exploded, because I get these pictures of these groups of people, and they have made their own Healthy Heart shirts. Because what the program in India is Healthy Heart India, we have Healthy Heart United States, and now Healthy Heart Philippines. Right. And so this is just kind of caught on and caught fire, and now people just think this is the coolest thing to do, to be part of this Healthy Heart group. And so we supply all the medical supplies. I'm going in a couple weeks, and I'm just going to have a blast.
Will this be your first time there?
This will be my first time.
Okay.
Our team went last year, but right before we went, I had a medical problem that just floored me, and I wasn't able to go. But this year I'm going.
This year you're going.
And so yeah, I can't wait to meet everybody.
So in the Philippines, we had talked off the air about India and how sometimes it's pretty closed to missionary work, and so the health message is very important there, and it would be anyway. Is it the same situation in the Philippines as far as missionary work?
You know, depending on what part of the Philippines you're in, because you get parts of the Philippines that are heavy Catholic, you get parts of the Philippines that are they're animist. There's parts of the Philippines where you know, if I walked into the mountains in the Philippines, I may not come back out. When you're going into Mindanao and heavily, there's parts of the Philippines that have ISIS in it. So yeah, there's some dangerous parts. But so it's like that just about anywhere. Even here in the United States, I mean, it's not dangerous or anything, but connecting people with health, what you're doing when you connect people with health is you're just saying, I care about you.
Right.
I care about you with no strings attached. And, you know, even in India right now, there's the villages where we're at, the churches are growing from 20 to 300%. And not because we're going in there and we're hitting them over the head with the Bible. Because you got to remember, we're going into Muslim homes, we're going into Hindu homes. We can't go in there saying, you know, you got to believe in Jesus. We go in there saying, we love you, we care about you, we want to help you. And that allows the Holy Spirit to come in and to answer questions and to get them to ask questions. And it's just amazing. I had a Bible worker call me I called him just the other night through the internet. It was a chance thing, and he spoke really good English. He said, you know, before this program, he said we could only go into our Christian homes. That's the only homes we could visit. But now we're part of the Healthy Heart program. We go in as Healthy Heart workers. Yep. He says now every single door is open to us. And that is the thing with the health ministry. We were told that this would be one of the last ministries that would be open to us. And in some cases, in some countries, that's true. Matter of fact, in India right now, they're trying to pass a law that you cannot convert anybody. And they're passing an anti-conversion law. It's being taken to their parliament. Before the end of the year. Before I go back next year, they'll have that law and they'll try to put it through. That means you can go to jail for 2 years for converting somebody.
But you can still go help them.
You can still go help them.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how well that works and how we as a church have been instructed that the health message is so incredibly important. It is the right arm of the gospel, and at some point in time, it is the only arm of the gospel.
Yeah. Jim, we've been visiting about the Philippines and India. What are we doing here locally?
Well, we've kind of taken some of the stuff that we're doing in the Philippines and India with this Mahdi drop, and we've introduced into a book that we put together for here locally. Here locally, we're looking at, in the Pacific Northwest, the problem of possibly the subduction zone earthquake, the 9.0 big earthquake that'll turn this into a third world country here in Oregon. So one of the best ways to prepare for a disaster is to get to know your neighbors, to build a community around you. One of the best things we can do as Christians is to get to know your neighbors. So what we've done, working with Adventist Community Services, is put this book together on how to get to know your neighbors. and how to build a community around you. So it's a way to connect with your neighbors that's as easy as delivering homemade cookies. And churches are doing this all over the Portland metropolitan area. And this has been working out really, really good. And in the back of this book, we put the Maudie Drop. So there's a little cover back here, a little flap. We put the Maudie Drop in, so we give this. So what you're giving is you're giving your neighbors this book, this information, you're building a relationship with them, and then you're giving them 1 year's worth of clean water. We could be 1 month to 1 year without water if we get that subduction zone earthquake. So that's something we're doing in the communities to help us connect with our neighbors. Ultimate Mission is all about relationship building.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do here at home and in different parts
That's right.
of the world.
So whether you're in a village over in India or you're in the Philippines or in our own communities, we can be using the tools here to be reaching out and impacting those around us.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, how can people get involved?
Well, you could go to our website, and what we do, the way we support the women in India is we have 3 different sponsorship levels. We have a 1099, we have a 45, and we have a 70. And so the 1099 is basically we'll sponsor a woman for a week. The 45 will sponsor her for a month with some travel and a little bit of extra expenses involved. And the 70 really makes it so that we can do the monthly trainings and give them the equipment and books and everything that they need. So those 3 different sponsorships is a great way that you could help us out.
Well, Jim, it's been just an absolute pleasure talking with you today. If you're interested in learning more about the ministry, please visit ultimatemission.net, and their phone number is 503-891-6040. That's ultimatemission.net, 503-891-6040. Jim, I want to thank you for coming in today and sharing with us. It's just awesome to see God at work in our community as well as communities across the world. Friends, thank you for joining us today on Better Life. Please drop by our website at blbn.org for more stories and to connect with us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.